Okay, welcome back, guys. Welcome back to our channel. We have our guest here. It's a special guest from Canada, Canadian Bitcoin Pleb. How are you, bro?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, it's a different time zone, guys. So yeah, it's for give me if I yeah a little bit sleepy. Yeah, before I start with the video, can you share a little bit more about yourself and yeah how you get into dive down into Bitcoin rabbit hole?
Yeah. Bitcoin is my favorite topic of conversation. So I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me. Yeah, really. I got into Bitcoin, I would say, through libertarianism. I wasn't raised a libertarian or anything like that. I fell into that actually by accident. I bought a book of Milton Friedman's, the Economist, by accident, and read it anyways, and it made a lot of sense. It's about us being free to choose and being able to make our own economic decisions without government interference. So that kind of laid the groundwork for my views on life. But I think, like most people, I always had a little bit of a sense that something was wrong with the way the world operated. I couldn't understand how governments could endlessly go further and further and further into debt without the system breaking. I knew the consumer price index measuring inflation, I knew that was worthless because it was obvious to me, even before Bitcoin, that it favors the rich by not including stock market growth or housing growth. So I think because of that, I was always thinking, okay, something's wrong here. How is this even working? And then it wasn't until I found Bitcoin and started on Bitcoin Twitter, listening to all those very smart people, that it was the currency that was the problem. As Greg Foss would say, currency is the error term here, right? So governments can go deeper and deeper into debt because they're inflating the currency, and the currency is becoming more and more worthless. So kind of came through to Bitcoin that way, and ever since then, it's just been connecting with the community, right? Trying to meet other Bitcoiners, right? Because I don't know really any in my own personal life, so I got to get that fixed through Twitter.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, what was the time the Bitcoin aha moment? I mean, like you jumped into Bitcoin from 2017 or 2018. What was your aha moment in Bitcoin?
For me, it was October of 2020. So pretty recently. When you think about that, that's really not that long ago. But at that point, it was just I had bought some Bitcoin just because on the app that I use to buy stocks and invest for myself, they started offering Bitcoin, and that was really the real time. I was like, oh yeah, Bitcoin, what's that? So I put in $100, and that was really what kind of motivated me. Maybe I should understand what I own here, and maybe I should learn a little more about that. I know it's YouTube and everything like that, and then I think the aha moment came once I kind of realized, like, because the nodes and the miners are decentralized, this is going to be around forever, right? This can't go away. Even if every country bans it, it's still going to be operating. It can't go away. It's here forever. And that was a really big aha moment for me.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, unlike most people, jump into the train where the last bubble pop. I mean, like in 2017, including myself. So yeah, it's a different part. Right? I mean, yeah, some people jump into the train last year especially during the COVID crash. Yeah, I think you're one of them. So yeah, that's why it's quite unique sometimes. Yeah, I mean, like since you mentioned Great Force is many people from Canadian, right? In Bitcoin Pleb. I mean, like there's so much great community in Canada, or
yeah, there is. I mean, I kind of got fed up a couple of weeks ago and said, you know what? I don't have any Bitcoin friends. I don't know any Bitcoiners in real life. So I just decided to organize a meetup myself, and the response was amazing. Like it's as soon as I started talking about meeting, it's like all the other Ontario, Canadian Bitcoiners kind of reached out to me, wanted to connect, wanted to meet up as well. So there is a really good community, and I think that is kind of, to be honest, a reflection of how much Bitcoin is needed in Canada. Just through COVID and everything, I think a lot of people realize our government is quite a bit more authoritarian than we may have thought 2.5 years ago. But now that we realize that our government isn't afraid to say, you have to do this, you can't do that, I think a lot more people are, maybe if they already knew about Bitcoin, now they're a little more passionate about it when it's like, okay, our government has too much power.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, I don't really want to touch too much about the government, but I know the situation in there. And then, yeah, it's kind of sad, it's not only in the government. I mean, like, in our country, that's going to happen too, because, the world is going into like totalitarianism and socialism. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, how's that all been in Indonesia? Can you tell me a little bit about what the past 2 years have looked like there?
Yeah, it's quite the same, I don't want to like spoil that much, because maybe this video got taken down, but the main day or something like that. Yeah, I think it's quite the same, I don't know. That's why I still find it why people fall into this trap, right? I mean, like, people like got fall into the promise of the false promise from the government. So I don't know, people don't love themselves. Yeah, as a result, there will be the populism in politics.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, since you like got into crypto, I mean, like Bitcoin early. I mean, did you see where you came to the train last year? I mean, like, this why you like in Bitcoin only? I mean, like before jumping. I mean, like I know some people have the conviction in Bitcoin, but some people also learn from their mistake from shitcoin. How do you recognize all of that?
So just to clarify, that is the question you're asking, why am I Bitcoin only and why am I not into other cryptos?
Yeah, I know. I mean, no, I mean, like, why, you Bitcoin only by recognizing that it's Bitcoin. I mean, like, unlike the other people, like, including myself, I jumped into shitcoin first and I got my lesson, then I jumped into the Bitcoin. Then you recognize that first without touching any shitcoin. You learn straight away. I mean, like, can you give me like a receipt or like lesson? I mean, like, what's your experience about that?
Okay, I see. So I guess I should clarify. When I first bought Bitcoin, I also actually bought an equal amount of Ethereum. And at the time, I just thought, well, like whenever you buy two things, it must be more diversified that way. And that was my thought at the time. And it's funny how I made the transition. I didn't have to endure any shitcoin crash or anything like that. But what happened was actually just on Twitter, some Bitcoin maxi just put me in my place big time. He kind of said, like, you're an idiot for owning Ethereum. Ethereum is stupid. And at the time I was like, why would anyone care so much if I own Ethereum? But the amount of passion that this guy had yelling at me on Twitter made me kind of realize, like, maybe I need to look into this a little further. Why is it Bitcoin only, and why is no other cryptocurrency smart to invest in? So then it was kind of, okay, let's look into that. And when that really clicked for me was when I realized that really every other crypto, every other shitcoin, it's really just kind of like a stock. It's just like a group of people trying to make a company essentially, and they're just kind of disguising that through what they perceive as a digital currency or a digital asset or something like that. So I kind of view buying cryptocurrencies like shitcoins, similar to if you're trying to gamble and pick the right penny stock. It's like trying to pick a penny stock and hopefully it will 100x and stuff like that. There's no real way to research. When people say do your own research on shitcoins, it's like hilarious because it's like you can't research shit. But yeah, so that's the big thing. The fact that Bitcoin was abandoned essentially by Satoshi, and Satoshi disappeared, and he just kind of said, "Here it is. Here's my creation. Do what you want with it." That's really the real power, in because nothing will ever be decentralized like that again. Nothing will ever have no rulers like that again. I have so I'm a financial advisor by trade. That's what I do for my day job. I help basically I help rich people pay less taxes. I help rich people invest their money. 2021 was really the first year where I had everybody asking me about Bitcoin, everybody asking me about cryptocurrency. And so obviously my first duty there is to steer them away from cryptocurrency, right? We don't want altcoins or shitcoins, right? And the main thing I say every crypto other than Bitcoin has a CEO. They have a president, and that is a point of failure, because that person can become greedy. They can make stupid choices. Every other crypto besides Bitcoin is run by humans, and humans are fallible. And because humans are fallible, so is their product, so is the shitcoins, right? And so that's why Bitcoin has the staying power, because there's no fallible human behind Bitcoin.
Yes, exactly. It's pure math, like Greg Foss once said. It's backed by math, and also, yeah, it's quite astonishing, to have, like I said, with no CEO, with no founder. I mean, like it's kind of magic if you, yeah, magic of internet or money sometimes. But people still recognize the value and still early stage. But yeah, you never know where the price is skyrocketing, where the price Bitcoin will go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I mean, like since you mentioned financial advisor, I mean, like, are you like a CFA or a certificate financial advisor, or trader, or what?
So the best term would probably be a financial planner.
Oh,
So I sell investments like mutual funds, stock and bond mutual funds, and things like that. That's really at the root of it what I do. And that's kind of tricky for me, because technically I'm not allowed to even talk about Bitcoin to my clients. If I were to get an audit or something like that, or if one of my clients were to mention to a regulator that I'm talking about Bitcoin, I would definitely be getting a warning or a ticket or something like that. Not allowed. So it's a real tough balance for me, where I want to truthfully answer my clients' questions and guide them in the best way possible. But it's like I got to keep my job too. So until I can Bitcoin full time, it's like I have to pick and choose who I can talk to Bitcoin about. It's got to be the people who trust me and that I trust. I can't tell all my clients about Bitcoin, unfortunately.
yes, exactly. You can only know yourself. Yeah, I mean, including your wife, you cannot you cannot tell your family you can have your own Bitcoin, right? So yeah, I understand your point of view. I mean, like since like you mentioned, like your financial planner, right? To the client, you cannot mention any Bitcoin at all. How you manage this market? I mean, like the markets the past few weeks. It's quite turbulence, with the small correction. I don't know, with bear market, some people say super bubble or something like that. How do you manage that? I mean, like since the Bitcoin, tumbles a lot, like, I mean, in numbers. But yeah, I know Bitcoin is equal one Bitcoin all the time. But as you like mentioned before, you are a financial advisor. How you handle this kind of situation?
Yeah. So I'd say there's probably like 3 or 4 clients so far that I've actually somewhat orange pilled and gotten them to take the plunge and buy some Bitcoin. Not huge amounts, like $4,000 there, $6,000 there, 15,000 there, different clients. And so you're right, now it's like, okay, there's a 50% drop, and then they're coming to me and saying, hey, like, what's going on with Bitcoin? And I just kind of say, like, really the reason we're here is for the longevity of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is always a long-term play. And when I warn these clients before they get into it, because it's my job to always make people aware of all the risks. So in my mind, the biggest risk for the price action of Bitcoin is, okay, we saw China ban, we saw Russia ban just recently. What if now the US, Canada, all these other European countries, and what if everyone banded together and they kind of said, okay, we all have to ban Bitcoin? And I think that's the only real long-term price risk for Bitcoin, is if all countries ban it. I think we're definitely going to see a price drop, right? Let's say it drops down to 10,000 per Bitcoin or something like that. And I think that could potentially temporarily affect the four-year halving cycle, right? I think the price might not have these crazy jumps during those cycles if there's like a worldwide ban. You can't kill Bitcoin, we know that. And we know eventually, because of game theory, that all governments have to adopt it. But I think there's nothing technically stopping a potentially multi-decade slowdown of adoption if there is some regulatory bans like that. So that's what I prepare my clients for. Prepare them for the absolute worst, even though it's extremely unlikely that anything like that would happen. So because of that, the 50% drop down doesn't scare them that much, because they were mentally prepared for a 90% drop down that last 30 years. So if you know that could happen, then anything else is not scary.
Yeah, Bitcoin already dropped 50% in the past few weeks. So yeah, in today's price, Bitcoin touched 50% drop. So yeah, I agree with you. We need to mentally prepare for our situation. But it's number go up technology, you know. It's only matter of time before the price correcting again. And and then yeah, since you mentioned regulation, I mean, like how Canada approach this regulation? I mean, like this kind of regulation with Bitcoin. I mean, like they support it or they against it or what?
So Canada has been very supportive this far. Like they've allowed spot ETFs. I think like the US has no spot ETF, hasn't been approved yet. In Canada, I think there's like 5 that have 5 different spot ETFs you can choose from. So you can you have lots of options there, and there's new Bitcoin companies popping up pretty often in Canada. So we're definitely going the opposite way. It doesn't look like Canada's going to do a ban anytime soon at all. But personally, I don't have high expectations of our current government or any future governments. I think that governments always want more and more control over time, in my mind. So even though there's nothing indicating any hostile action towards Bitcoin now, I personally think that will be a transition period between now and hyperbitcoinization. I think that will be times when the regulations get a lot tougher, and they might try and say, hey, you can own Bitcoin, but you're not allowed to hold your own keys, right? I could see something like that happening, or like a executive order 6102 in the States, right, where they said, okay, everybody hand in all your gold. You're not allowed to hold gold personally anymore. I could see something like that happening in Canada eventually, maybe in 10 years or 20 years, depending on what happens. And that's actually the reason why I'm trying to maintain some sort of anonymity, or whatever you say. And being anonymous a little bit is because if at all possible, I'd like the government not to know the size of my stack. I'd like people, outsiders, to not know that I have a stack, right? There's always the $5 wrench attack. Everybody's worried about wear your helmets. So the regulatory environment is very good right now, but I'm not positive that it will stay that way forever.
Yes, exactly. I mean, like, yeah, if Bitcoin, like Ray Dalio once said, he said that, yeah, Bitcoin is becoming, it's in adoption phase, but yeah, at the same time, when it's become more globally adopted, the government power to, yeah, the currency will be challenged by the decentralized one. Yeah, it's gonna be some threat for the government, right? It's game theory, but I don't know. Maybe they cannot ban it, but they can only make it difficult, yeah, to adopt. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they can ban it, but the ban won't be very effective. The
Yeah,
ban will apply to people who are scared, right? The ban will apply to people who are too scared to say "f you." You know what I mean? It's because no one can take your Bitcoin from you, right? But they can say, okay, if you won't surrender your Bitcoin, then we're going to take your house. We're going to put you in jail. We're going to fine you $100,000, right? That can happen. So that's why I think it's wise to have some Bitcoin that is KYC free, right? That nobody knows you own, just in case that eventually happens. Maybe I'm a doomsday prepper, but I like to think that way sometimes.
yes, exactly. I mean, it's happening. I mean, like in Turkey, for example, the government tried to ban Bitcoin, even though you cannot ban it. I mean, like when you have something in your bank account that transfer it to Bitcoin, I mean, the government can track that. But yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, yeah. I mean, in the first world country like United States, like the Canada or something like that. I mean, it's far from that hyperinflation. I mean, like in Turkey, including my country, in Indonesia. I mean, it's on the brink of collapse if the currency is not really viable. I mean, it's not globally accepted, and the government try to print the money as long as possible. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I think since you brought up like the bans in Russia and China, I think something interesting to talk about that I've been thinking about a lot lately is superpowers in the world, right? Global superpowers like Russia, China, right? Are they really banning it, or are they just banning it for their citizens to hopefully suppress the price so that they can stack? I don't think that the powers that be in Russia and China, don't see the value in accumulating Bitcoin. I think that's unreasonable to think that they don't see the value of Bitcoin. So myself personally, I think that they're stacking right now. People think that the bull market is over right now, but I would not be surprised if one of these days it's found out, okay, Russia added $300 billion worth of Bitcoin to their reserves, or China did the same
Yeah.
thing or something like that. And that would spark really another leg of the bull market if we find out. It's one thing that El Salvador is doing it, but it's a very different thing if China or Russia is doing it. And personally, that's what makes the most sense to me. If people like me and you can understand that Bitcoin is inevitable, I don't see how Putin isn't understanding that Bitcoin is inevitable. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we get announcements like that this year.
Yes, exactly. I mean, if if they were able to do it, I mean, like they would do it by OTC. I mean, like not moving the price by buying from the I mean, like not retail. I mean, like the over the counter, so that they cannot move price at all. But as you mentioned before, it's happening. I mean, like the China, have you ever heard the news about the one Ponzi token who
What
already
is it? Sorry.
a Ponzi token from China, one Ponzi. Yeah, I forgot the name, but it's Ponzi scheme from China. But the Ponzi have a lot of Bitcoin, right? But the government sees the Bitcoin to their balance sheet. I don't know. It's not. Yeah, it's quite a unique way to secure Bitcoin by seizing from criminal, right? I don't know. It's happening, but the way they're updating it is underground. You know, we can never really know sure how they adopt this thing.
Right, right, yeah, like civil forfeiture. And maybe that's what countries will start doing, is instead of buying on their own, they'll get it for free because they're going to arrest you and force you to give up your keys. Yeah, maybe that's interesting.
Yeah, because by doing criminal things in Bitcoin, you cannot do that. You know, even though with Taproot, I mean, it's all public ledger, right? You can do transaction online, and then when people try to do bad things, you can also go to record. Yeah, even though you need to do forensic of the transaction, but if the cyber police try to catch the criminal, I mean, it's the bad way to use crime. You know, I mean, like the people I said that Bitcoin is using for criminals, but all this time before Bitcoin came along, the criminal using cash, right? And still to this day, using cash. I don't know. People, it's just for politicians, you know, to take down Bitcoin. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I don't think. I think it's a non-issue. Really. I don't think no petty criminals are using Bitcoin. They're using cash, right? Maybe there's some, like I can't even imagine people doing things that way, because it's like it's almost harder to use Bitcoin anonymously than it is to use anything else anonymously, right? Especially cash. So yeah, I think that's a non-issue. It's just FUD, right? It's just something that politicians can point at to hopefully scare some people away from positive Bitcoin legislation. Yeah, I don't know what, like, definitely where I'm from, there's nobody using Bitcoin for illegal transactions. Nobody knows how. If you're selling drugs, or like if you're a gangbanger or something like that, you don't know how to look into Bitcoin and buy that and coin join it and do a KYC free. The criminals are not logging on to BISC to get some KYC free Bitcoin. It's not nonsensical. Yeah.
Yeah, I see. I mean, like, I understand your point of view. I mean, like, yeah, people don't get exposure about the Bitcoin. So, say, like, some criminals, maybe in the early days, criminal use that because it's a fear of the black market. Right? I mean, have you ever heard of the, like, what is called? Free Rose. I mean, like, it's a founder of what is called the black market in the
Silkroad.
Yeah, Silkroad. Yeah, it's they use Bitcoin at the very beginning, but it's part of the internet technology. I mean, like, internet in the early days, so many scammers as well. But yeah, as time goes by, it's as widely adopted. I mean, it's no longer happen.
Yeah, and I think back then was a little bit different. When Silk Road was alive, well, yes, Bitcoin was still the same public ledger, right? But nobody knew about it, so nobody really knew that you could read the public ledger and know exactly who's transacting, right? So it was a little different back then because of that. But it's funny you bring Silk Road up. That was actually my first introduction to Bitcoin, and I don't know when it was. I'm going to guess like 2012 or 2013 or something like that. When I actually just picked up a random newspaper on the train, and I guess I was 20 at that time. But I read an article about Silk Road, about how you can use this Bitcoin to buy illegal things, and I thought it was kind of interesting, but I never pursued it any further than that. So that's kind of like the big, like, imagine I had bought Bitcoin back then in 2012. But there's no use in thinking about that type of stuff, because the reality is, if I bought Bitcoin in 2012, I probably would have sold it in 2013 anyways, and spent the money. I probably wouldn't have been able to hodl back then through the price action. So even if I did buy it, probably wouldn't have done me that good anyways.
Yes.
Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, it happens to almost some people, you know. I mean, like, when they like to turn back time, I mean, they try to like catch the bottom. Oh, I should sell my horse to Bitcoin, but it just it's not gonna happen, you know. Even though you like jump to the train in 2017 or 2013, maybe you will just got lost at the very bottom, right? I don't know. It's just they say. I mean, like the way it is. I mean, like yeah, the part of the journey is not easy, you know. Yeah, because we never knew
Yeah.
what
I think.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think just to talk about the price action and people who panic sell and FOMO buy and everything like that. I think the real solution to do that, just to make sure in your own head and your own emotions are under control when investing in something like Bitcoin or buying something like Bitcoin, is really just to buy every day. Right, buy regardless of what the price is, because then you know if the price goes down, you're like, yes, I'm getting more sats. If the price goes up, you're like, yes, my sats are worth more in fiat terms. So I think that would, if people had that type of mindset of buying every day, just whatever, a little bit, a couple thousand sats every day, I think that would really eliminate a lot of the panic selling and a lot of the volatility in general, because people wouldn't be fixated on the fact that, oh, I bought it at 60,000 with a lump sum purchase at 60,000, and now it's only worth 39,000 or 36,000. That's what gets people into trouble, is when they say, okay, I'm going to put all my money in here, where I think it should be just put in some, right, and buy every single day. I don't know. Is that what you do? Do you buy every day?
Yeah, sometimes I do lump sum, you know. I mean, like if like 40% correction, I do lump sum. But the rest of that, I mean, like the couple of days, it's trending down, right? I mean, I do this as well. But it's, yeah, people can do whatever they like, right? I mean, they have their own strategy, because we are not financial advice from the beginning. I mean, I always disclaimer as well to my subscriber or my followers to like to stack sats every day, because you can never know how the price, the direction of the price. So yeah, it's the best way if it, because it is the number go up technology.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, since you mentioned like your DC, or is it the way to like I mean the DC, I mean like you also preach the what is called you give sats to people. Is it the way to global mass adoption in your opinion, or is it is something else?
You know what? I like to spend sats. Big believer in spending Bitcoin when you can, for a couple of reasons, really. One, just to keep the ecosystem moving and growing, right? Hodling is awesome, is great, of course. That's using Bitcoin still. That's at least right now the primary use case is to hodl and protect against what's going on in the world. But sending a couple thousand satoshis across borders instantly and for free, that hits a little different to me, for the sender and the receiver, really, right? Like I think I did that. That's how me and you got connected, right? I sent you 5,000 sats or something like that, because you're from Indonesia. I couldn't point out Indonesia on the globe right now. I have no clue where it is. Meanwhile, I met someone online and sent over 5,000 sats, instantly and for free, right? To me, that feels pretty good. That to me shows what Bitcoin is capable of, right? I had another gentleman, I forget where he's from. I think Germany or something like that, and he made me a new profile picture, right? I have a new picture on Twitter. I got the V for Vendetta mask on and everything like that, and he made that for me, and I sent him the sats, and we didn't have to ever meet, right? We didn't have to go through any third party or anything like that, right? It's just Twitter and sending sats that way. Like that is the best in my mind, and I think that's really what cements people into Bitcoin once they know that you can conduct commerce and using Bitcoin, right? And that's why I'm so excited and so bullish on what's happening in El Salvador and Bitcoin Beach and everything like that. That's where I want to travel this year if possible at all, just to experience that. But the fact that it can work, and the fact that it's transparent and it's honest, and that there's no one else with their fingers in our affairs, is very powerful to me. So I like to send sats when I can. And the good thing is everyone wants to receive 2,000 sats, right? But 2,000 sats is not going to hurt my financial situation at all, right? So I can prove to someone just how amazing Bitcoin really is and how amazing Lightning is, for very, very little cost to me. And it's not like it's a huge net gain to them, but it's something that they can hold and that they can see and say, okay, I have these 1,000 sats that I got from Canada, and it would have been next to impossible for me to send you what's the equivalent of like $3 Canadian in any other way, right? Me and you, as a joke now or as an experiment, I should try and send you $3 Canadian some other way. You can send me your banking info, and I'll see if I can do a wire transfer. I bet you I can't even figure it out. I wouldn't have the patience to do it. But the fact that I could do it in 10 seconds on my Moon wallet or on my wallet of Satoshi, I think that's pretty amazing. So I love doing that, and that's the first thing I do to people who are pre-coiners as well, people who have not heard of Bitcoin yet, is I send them 10,000 Satoshis. And now all of a sudden they're looking at the price action of that. Like, okay, this was worth $20. Now it's worth $25, and it's only been one day. Do I need to look into this a little more? Right. So I think whenever you can, if you're trying to orange pill someone, send them a couple Satoshis.
Yes, exactly. I mean, like Bitcoin has a lot of talented people, but less marketing people. Right? The way to market is by me, or by giving the actual Bitcoin, as sats. Because like the drugs, drugs, you just take it for free, right? But moving from one product to another is the hardest part in Bitcoin, because they try to fall into shitcoin, they fall into the scam. That's why it's Bitcoin is not really recognizable for some people. But by you're doing this, I mean, like there's some OG as well doing the giveaway sats. I mean, it's spreading the mass adoption, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And then also just tightening the existing bonds that are formed just via Bitcoin Twitter, because it's not like me sending you sats. That didn't orange pill anyone, right? You were already a Bitcoiner. I was already a Bitcoiner. But now we know each other. Now some people are going to listen to this podcast, right? And then they'll think, okay, I should send some sats to people, right? Or I know my own conviction in Bitcoin is strengthened by the fact that in the past month, I've sent Bitcoin to Malaysia, Indonesia, Germany, where else? Australia, the USA, right? So that's 5 countries that otherwise I could never send $1 to Australia, right? It would probably cost me $40 to send $1 to Australia. I did it for I think one sat. I think I paid almost zero friction, right, in doing something like that. It's amazing. I think once, like, if we look at just how the world economy improved once we stopped doing barter, right? When the caveman stopped exchanging like whatever, a fish for a piece of meat, boar meat or something like that, And once money was introduced, the economy was able to just flourish so much because people don't have to, what they need and what they have don't have to align perfectly in order to make a trade because they have this other money, right? I think that once Bitcoin is more fully adopted into international commerce, right? It's going to be me supporting your business in Indonesia, 2 continents away, instantly, right, for free, right? And I think that's going to do a lot more things. I don't think that's talked about enough. It's just really how the economy and commerce will improve with Bitcoin adoption. And then not to mention it's uncensorable too. So if communist China doesn't want me to transact with their citizens, what if they can't stop it? They can't really stop it if I'm sending it over, right? It's immutable. So I think that's a big thing that isn't talked about enough.
Yes, exactly. I mean, like as was why I mean the way to send Bitcoin, I mean, this pure decentralized, like you mentioned before. I mean, like regardless of the exchange and the centralized exchange, like trying to do. I mean, when Bitcoin hits a mass adoption, I think it's only matter of time that people will send such one way or another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, since you mentioned like you're doing like KYC free, I mean like you're doing like your own node. I mean like I don't know. I mean Samurai Wallet or Moon Wallet because they have their own custody, right? I mean, can you like explain KYC free to my audience?
Yeah. So KYC free. KYC stands for Know Your Client.
Yeah.
And it's basically laws internationally. I just explain it for the audience in case they don't know.
Yeah.
So it's basically so that governments can keep tabs on who owns Bitcoin and who owns what. And they do it under the guise of they want to stop terrorist financing, they want to stop money laundering and things like that. Maybe it is partially that, but I think the reality is they just want to know who owns what so that they can tax it later or so that they can take it away later. So a lot of people are big believers and they say all of your Bitcoin should be KYC free. All of your Bitcoin should be in cold storage somewhere. Personally, I don't think that way. I like to keep most of my Bitcoin in cold storage and a portion of it KYC free. I don't buy all my Bitcoin KYC free because it's usually more expensive. Usually you're paying a premium to do so, which if you're weighing the pros and cons, you might say, I'll pay any premium to make them and that truly have Bitcoin that the government doesn't know about. I only do it with a portion, right? Because I don't want to be overpaying forever. I like to hedge my bets. Maybe that's the financial advisor in me. But the KYC free Bitcoin that I have, not from Bisq. I don't know how to use Bisq. I'm not very techy. I don't run my own node yet, although that is a goal for me that I want to do this year. I'm not very technologically savvy. I'm lucky I got on the Zoom call. But the KYC free Bitcoin that I have, it's from Bitcoin Twitter, right? It's from connecting with people and saying, oh, hey, you have a miner in your house and you have hundreds of thousands of KYC free sats. Let's meet up. I'll bring some cash and then you can send it to me on Lightning and getting KYC free Bitcoin that way through the community, right? Because in my area, there's tons of Bitcoiners that you can meet up with and say, hey, here's $1,000 cash. Why don't you give me 2 million sats? And that's KYC free and that's peer to peer. You had to meet the person, right? So you've got to be careful with the $5 wrench back at those interactions. But that's a way to get KYC free Bitcoin, and that's what I personally like to do. I've tried Bisq. To be honest, when I used Bisq or when I turned it on my computer got really hot and was very noisy. So I was like, I don't know if I like this. Is my work computer going to break here? So I gave up on that. But yeah, meet people in person. If you're going to a Bitcoin meetup and you want KYC free sats, consider bringing a couple $100 of fiat and just offer it to people. I'll pay a 5% premium of where Bitcoin's trading right now. but that's sometimes worth it to have a portion of your stack that is unknown by the government that you own it. And I think that's powerful. And if the crap does hit the fan one day and Bitcoin is banned in your country and you're going to be attacked or targeted for owning Bitcoin, it's good to have some that is untouchable because no one knows about it.
Yes, exactly. I mean, like it's nature of Bitcoin, you know, pseudonymous and decentralized and permissionless and unconfiscatable. So yeah, the way to go is by doing the KYC free, you know, because yeah, it's not in the centralized power like exchange or something like that. And you have a control on your money. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, since like you, yeah, I mean like your freedom, I mean like the KYC free. I mean, you also by appearing like this, your appearance reminds me of you know Daryl Gigi. I mean, it's anonymous as well, right? I mean, it's anonymous culture in Bitcoiner. I mean, it's pure of Satoshi vision. I mean, like you cannot know like pseudonymous, and you cannot know about the identity of the person. I mean, what's your reasoning behind this? All of this.
Well, as you can see, I'm not trying that hard to remain anonymous, right? Like you can see most of my face right now, and if you knew me already and you saw me, you recognize me instantly, right? So I'm not really trying that hard. But with that being said, I don't post pictures of myself and my family on Twitter or anything like that. We're just so thinking about the future, right? So for Dirt Gigi, he has a huge following, right? There's hundreds of thousands of people that see his content, right, and listen to his podcast. So as your following gets bigger and your impact gets bigger, the likelihood of you being targeted for a $5 wrench attack or for anything gets higher because there's more people and there's more chance that a whack job is going to see you, right? So I don't try that hard right now. I'm more just trying to just protect myself in that way on the off chance that some criminal does see me, does know me, and says, okay, I'm going to go look snoop around in this house when he's not there and see if I can find that passphrase and find those keys. So it's just you might as well protect yourself when you can. I think just people. I on it earlier as well, and I might get some flack for this, but I would say probably only half of my Bitcoin is in cold storage, and the rest is split on different exchanges, on different Lightning wallets. And what I'm doing there is hedging my bets. Because yes, the safest way to own your Bitcoin is in cold storage and having self-custody. But I'll be the first one to say, I'm not the smartest person in the world when it comes to technology, when it comes to fully understanding the ins and outs of how Bitcoin works and everything like that. So yes, I do have half in cold storage. But I'd say that is probably my riskiest Bitcoin for me personally, just because of my lack of experience with self-custody. I've only been doing it for 6 months or something on the self-custody side, maybe 8 months. So you got to yourself ever. It's a lot of Bitcoin that you have, but know yourself and know what is the safest for Bitcoin for you. So kind of related to being anonymous, but kind of not too. So
yeah, I kind of lost connection. Wait. Sorry.
I hope that answers your question.
My connection, it's...
Oh, you lost connection for a bit?
Oh, wait. I paused the. Yeah. Okay. Continue, please. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I was just saying, being anonymous is just another way to protect yourself, right? Because the bigger your following is online, the more people who know who you are, the more likely that one of those people will be a nut job and will want to get your Bitcoin. So that's why I try to be somewhat anonymous. I don't put too much time into being completely anonymous, as you can see, but I think it's worth it to think about it, just as an extra step of security.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's not only for themselves. I mean, it's to protect their surrounding. Right? I mean, like their family, or yeah, because they get attacked, right? By that's why the superhero is like using mask or something like that. They have to protect their surrounding, right? I don't know. It's just people the way it is, but it's the part of the way to protect each other. I don't know. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. I mean,
I'm sure
yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
sorry. I was just going to say, I'm sure I'm being more paranoid than I need to, but that's kind of fun. Being a little paranoid, it's fun. We're shadowy super coders, right? Using Bitcoin, so it's kind of fun to be anonymous, anyways. Uh, Even though I probably got nothing to worry about.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, like even like in the Zoom call, we never met each other. I never met before, right? And then, yeah, by saying that, it's almost saying that we are anonymous to each other, right? So I don't know. It's just the not the way to say it is, but yeah. But sometimes it's related to that way. You know, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, like it's almost 1 hour already. I mean, I need to wrap this up. I mean, before I wrap this up, do you have any Bitcoin price prediction for? I don't. I mean, it's no financial advice. It's only for fun. I mean, yeah. Do you think it's still bull market, or we have? Yeah, the bull market is over, or what? I mean, what's your price prediction for this year or next year for a long term?
So yeah, let's call it. Let's say it for fun, because as we all know,
Yeah, we can never
Bitcoin
know.
Bitcoin likes to hurt people's feelings. Bitcoin likes to scare people, right? So I'm gonna say confidently that I don't think we're in a bear market. I think that we're probably near bottoms right now. And I think that this dip is going to be the one where a lot of people buy. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a second buy from Tesla at this point. Because I think this is their entry point. It was like 36,000. So I would not be surprised if big public companies bought at this time, or that countries bought during this dip. I think we're going to see definitely a renewed leg of the bull run. Where it goes to, I have no clue. I'm going to say that we're going to be over 100K this year. If I had to bet, I don't bet on things like that. I don't even buy a scratch ticket or a lottery ticket. But at the end of the day, Bitcoin is a black hole. Because of the longevity, everything always finds its way to Bitcoin. I don't know if in Indonesia, or if any of your listeners have ever seen those massive like basins that where you drop a penny onto it and then it just spirals for like 10 minutes before it gets into the middle of the basin and actually collects the penny. That's how I see Bitcoin. Is everything, all the monetary energy in the universe, past, present, and future, is currently on that spiral, just making its way to the middle, and that middle is Bitcoin. So yes, there's volatility in there. Yes, there's bear markets in there. But that's what Bitcoin is in my mind. It's a black hole that everything is finding its way to. So it's just a matter of time before we stop making price predictions, just because fiat doesn't exist anymore, right? I don't think that's more than 20 years away. Definitely, I'm gonna say 20 years away that fiat is gone. Nobody knows, of course, but I say 20 years because you probably won't be following up with me at that time.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
let's say 100K.
yeah, during our lifetime, I still, yeah, fundamentally believe that, yeah, fiat will go away. You know, I mean, like based on the history, the world reserve currency is changing all the time, right? Like British pound used to be the one, but right now with the US dollar, but I don't know if the hyperinflation happen, Bitcoin is the solution. Let's see. Only time will tell. We can never know. So yeah, that's pretty much about it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's it for today. Thank you for your time. It's been an honor to be here. I will like share about you in the link in the description. You guys, please check it out and support Canadian Bitcoin Pleb channel. Yeah, I leave a like and subscribe to our channel, guys.